Okay, welcome to the video about the standard form of a linear equation. We have become very familiar with the slope-intercept form. That's the y equals mx plus b form, and that has the slope in it and the intercept. And we've become familiar with the point slope form. That's the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 form, which has the slope and a point, x and y. Okay. Well, what we have here is the standard form. So there's three forms of a line that we can say: slope, intercept, point slope, or standard form. And probably what you're noticing about standard form is that there's no slope in it. There's no m, no slope. There's also no one particular point that's obvious, like the point x1 and y1 here, or the y-intercept here, okay? But what we can do is use ax plus by equals c, standard form, to get a point and to eventually get the slope. We'll just have to do some algebra, some manipulation to move things around. Some examples of what this looks like with numbers instead of a, b, and c might be 3x plus 5y is equal to 15, or it might just be x, as the 1 is implied, minus 3y is equal to 21. Or same thing, you could have a value for the x in front of the coefficient, but maybe just minus y is equal to negative 14. We have lots of different ways we can write this, but it's always in the format: the x value and whatever coefficient, a plus or minus sign, the y value and some coefficient, the equal sign, and then the number that's by itself. Well, if we want to graph when something is in standard form, okay, we can use a neat little method where we find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, okay? And so the intercepts are going to be really helpful, because if I have the x-intercept, some point along the x-axis, and then the y-intercept, some point along the y-axis, then if I have 2 points, I can draw a line between those 2 points and I have the line. And then once I have the line, I can find the slope or all sorts of other stuff. Okay? So the way we're going to do this is we're going to isolate just the x. Because if I have the x-intercept, I'm along this line, then the y value is 0. So I'm going to just cover up. Oh, and my computer's going to be a pain about it. I'm just going to cover up the y value totally. And so what you have left is just the x part. Well, 3x is equal to 12. What is x equal then? If I divide by 3 on both sides, x is equal to 4. So my x-intercept is when x is 4 and y is 0. And if I want to find my y-intercept, that's somewhere along the y-axis. That's when x is 0. So I'm going to just cover up my x totally. Notice I have then, what's left is 6y is equal to 12. We'll divide by 6. Y is equal to 2. So when x is 0, y is 2. So if I put a point at 4, 0 and a point at 0, 2, I'm going to go grab a line. I'm just going to draw that line in. There is my line of (3x plus 6y is equal to 12. So if we were going to jot down a few notes here, I'll do it in red. So step 1, get the x-intercept by covering the y term. Step 2, get the y-intercept by covering the x term. Plot both points, draw a line. Now, as you start to become more sophisticated, you probably don't need to show out all the work here. If this becomes math that you can do in your head, go ahead and do it in your head. Okay? Some people even just use a thumb or a finger to cover up, the different parts. That way, they're saving time. You're not going to have a little square necessarily. If you need to have a little square in class, we can help you with that. Let's look at another example, and this one includes a negative. So this is where you need to be very careful that subtraction sign there in front of the y term goes with the y term. So if I'm going to solve for the x term first, the x-intercept, okay, I'm going to say that 4x is equal to negative 24. I'm going to do this math in my head, that negative 24 divided by 4 is negative 6. So be very careful with your negative. So my x-intercept is negative 6, 0. And then if I want my y-intercept, I'm going to cover that 4x, but be really careful that that negative, again, like I said, travels with, it goes with the negative 8y is equal to negative 24. And I think I can do this in my head too. If I divide by negative 8 on both sides, y is going to be equal to positive 3. So I'm going to have 0, 3 as my y-intercept. So negative 6, 0 right on the end, and 0, positive 3. There are my 2 points. There's my line. That line is not very good. Hold on. Let's get a better line. It's a little bit better. Okay? So, isolating x's and y's to get the intercepts. I think I have one more example for you. Here's an example where the value in front of the x is a 1 if there's nothing there. So I cover that up. Oh my gosh, that one's transparent. That's so funny. Anyway, well, if I cover that up, then I can see right away that x is equal to 5. So I know right away that my x-intercept is 5, 0. And if let's see if it's going to let me cover this one up. If I cover up the x part, not the negative though. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Cover up the x part, then I'm left with negative 5y is equal to 5. And if I divide by negative 5 on both sides, then y is equal to negative 1. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 1. So 5, 0, 0, negative 1. And here's my line. Good luck with this. We will be practicing it in class more tomorrow. Make sure you come with any questions that you have.